Well, it is official. We just hit 100 subscribers. I just started this channel less than 3 months ago. It is amazing to see just how far we came in just under 3 months. Thank you to everybody who commented, shared a video, hit the like button, and subscribed. It has been an amazing journey and I can't wait to continue it. This is only the beginning and we have a lot more cool videos coming up. Currently, I am working on a pretty big series coming out. What is mountain biking explained simply? I hope that it will be a very big help to you guys, and then you can understand mountain biking explained simply, where I'll break down quite a few of mountain biking topics and then try to explain them as simply as I can. If you have any video ideas for that series, let me know in the comment section down below. I appreciate your guys' comments, and we have some cool ride videos coming up as well. The Sedona videos are dropping on the 27th, so that was definitely a fun ride, and we've definitely got a bunch more fun content coming up for the rest of the year. So I guess the next big milestone will be 1,000 subscribers, and I can't wait to add another 0 to that number. So let's go ahead and dive into the top 3 videos that was on my channel. What is Enduro mountain biking explained simply? My very first video, how to replace a chain in just 8 simple steps, and then how to convert your tubeless raid tires to tubeless. So those were some of my most popular videos, so let's go ahead and watch those. So what is Enduro? You hear it everywhere. Enduro bikes, Enduro trails, Enduro races. But what does it actually mean? Because depending on who you ask, you will get a different answer. So in this video, I am going to break it down all for you. So what is Enduro? At its core, it is actually pretty simple. You pedal up the hill and then you ride down as quick as you can. And you might say, well, that sounds a lot like downhill, and I'll tell you, yes it is. It does sound a lot like downhill, but the only difference is Enduro, you pedal up, and downhill you either shuttle or you get a lift up. There's 2 sides of Enduro. There is the Enduro side of racing and then the Enduro style of riding. And most people ride Enduro without ever pinning a race number to their bike. So let's start off with the racing side of Enduro, because this is where the term came from. At an Enduro race, your time only counts on the descents, and this is called stages. And the climbs, they are called transfers or transitions. They are not timed, but don't get me wrong, they are definitely still important because you do still have to make it to the stage on time, or otherwise you'll get penalties, or worse, you will be disqualified. Most races have between 3 to 6 stages on any given day. So your typical day looks like this. You get shuttled up the first lap, and then after the first lap, you have to pedal for the rest of the stages. So you get shuttled up, then you ride as hard as you can down, and then you have to pedal to the rest of the stages. And then you repeat that over and over and over again till you're done with all of your stages. And at the end, they add up all of your downhill times, and the fastest combined time is the winner. If you're enjoying this video so far, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button and subscribe while you're down there. Let's continue. It's pretty simple in theory, but it is definitely brutal in reality. It is really hard racing, because it's just not one run. It is multiple all-out efforts, and then you have to climb right after that. And by the last stage, you are pretty tired. Your legs are burning, your hands are tired, your forearms are fatigued. And now you're supposed to ride as fast as you can down your last stage. So that is the Enduro side of racing. But here's the thing, most people aren't doing Enduro racing. So this is where Enduro gets really interesting. Because if you never race, you can still do Enduro style riding. So this is how a lot of riders naturally ride. It's just big days on a bike, and then you ride up big climbs, and then you ride down as fast as you can and have the adrenaline pumping on the descents. It's a mix of terrain, then you ride hard when it matters, and then you just chill up on the climbs. So you're not sprinting the entire time like XC, and then you're also not doing lift laps like downhill. You're doing a little bit of everything. You're climbing, you're ascending, you're pushing yourself, you're resting, and then you repeat. And that is Enduro. So what is a Enduro style trail? Enduro trails usually lean more towards the descent of things. You'll see longer downhills, more technical sections, chunk routes, rocks, steeper lines, bigger features, but not always jumps. Some Enduro style trails can be flowy as well. It just depends on who built them and what you are riding that day. This is the kind of trail where you are engaged the entire time. You got pick lines, manage speed, stay loose, read the trail as it comes up on you. Now the bikes. What makes Enduro bikes so different? Enduro bikes are meant to be able to get you up the climbs, but then be able to handle everything on the descent. The typical setup is 150 to 170 millimeters of suspension front and rear, a slack head tube angle for stability. A cross-country bike would have a steeper head tube angle, which makes it good for climbing, but not always the best for descending. So they slacken out the head tube angle. A longer wheelbase, because that is much sturdier at high speeds. A dropper post, obviously, because you don't want your seat up while you're descending. Strong brakes, definitely 4-piston with at least 180 millimeter rotors. And then very aggressive tires. You want the knobby tires on enduro bikes. They are meant to feel planted when things get fast and rough. Now, you don't always need a enduro bike to ride enduro trails. Like my Fuel EX 8.6, it's only got 145 millimeters of travel in the rear and only 150 in the front. You can definitely ride this on an enduro trail, but it will take more skill and you need to be precise with your lines because you can't have the suspension bail you out of your mistake. So would a full enduro bike give you margin when things get sketchy? Yeah, it will. Will it make you faster? It could. It's not necessarily going to make you faster, but if you rode a cross-country bike on the same trail, it's definitely going to make you fast. Enduro has gotten big for just one simple reason. It matches how people most want to ride naturally. They want to mix their effort and their reward. Enduro gives you that. You earn your ascents, you count your climbs, but you also get those moments when everything clicks. Speed and flow, and you get into that flow state and it's just really fun. You don't need anything special to ride enduro. No lift tickets, no shuttle logistics. Just a bike, some fitness, and some willingness to ride up the climbs. So should you try enduro racing? I personally have never tried it. There's never really been one in the area when I am around, but if you want to try one, it's definitely probably worth a shot if that is what you want to try. You don't have to be some elite pro athlete riding the EWS every other weekend. You can just find a little enduro race and try it for yourself. You're riding with people, pushing yourself, and just having a fun time. Best case scenario, you have your funnest day on a bike, and worst case scenario, you still have a fun day, but you get hammered and you're still riding a bike. Enduro is definitely not easy. You need fitness to be able to go up the climbs, precision to go down the descents, and a bent of mental toughness for when you're tired when you drop in. But that's also why it's pretty rewarding, because when you finish a big ride or race, you still feel like you actually did something, instead of sitting on the couch and just watching TV. So what is enduro really? It's not just racing, it's not just a bike category, it is a way of riding. You pedal up, you ride hard on the descents, and then you do it all over again. So whether you're just racing the clock or your buddies down the hill, enduro can be really fun. So that is enduro broken down. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comment section down below what was most helpful. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to replace a chain in just 8 simple steps. The chain is worn out, making extra noise, or shifting poorly, it's probably time for a new one. Replacing a chain is one of the most important maintenance tasks you can do. Take your bike to a shop. Chain installation is around $25 to $30, and that is before the price of the chain. If you do it yourself, you still have to buy the chain and the tools, but once you buy the tools, it's way cheaper after that. For this task, you'll need quick link pliers, a chain tool, a jar, a Sharpie, and a new chain that matches your speed and drivetrain. Here's a few quick mistakes to avoid. Don't use a chain that's not your speed, so make sure you've got 12 speed for 12 speed and 10 for 10 and 11 for 11, etc. Don't size your chain by guessing. Make sure that it's actually the right size, and then don't route it wrong through the derailleur. Make sure that you have it routed correctly. Step 1, we're going to shift the bike into the smallest cog. If you have a Shimano drivetrain like this one, go ahead and turn the clutch off. If you have a SRAM derailleur, go ahead and move it into the lock position. This takes the tension off of everything and makes it a lot easier to remove the chain. Now for step 2, we're going to remove the old chain. If your chain uses a quick link system, we're going to need our quick link pliers to pull it apart. If it doesn't use a quick link, you're going to need to pop the pin out with the chain tool. So all you have to do is find your quick link, pop it like that, comes out, and then you just remove the chain through the derailleur. And before you toss the old chain, we're going to need it to size the new one. For step 3, we're going to take the old chain, put it by the new chain, and size it. Comes down to that link right there. Go ahead and mark it with the Sharpie. SRAM has their own calculator that you can just put your bike model and chainring size in, and it gives you how many links you need for your chain. It's pretty helpful. And then that's your chain length. This part matters. Too short and the drivetrain can bind up and damage parts. Too long and the shifting gets very sloppy. If you're not sure that your old chain was sized correctly, then we need to move on to step 4 where we'll size it on the bike. For step 4, we're going to size the chain on the bike, so you take it around your biggest chain ring. For me, I just have the 1x, so that's the biggest one. And then your biggest cog in the back. Do not run it through the derailleur yet. This part can be a little tedious to get the chain on there, so it might help to have someone help you with it. Otherwise, it might just take a little longer for you to get it all on there by yourself. So you just pull it right there. So we're right here at the start of a link, so we'll count out 4 links. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll cut on that one right there. The old chain was definitely sized correctly. For step 5, we're going to cut the chain. This is a pretty irreversible step, so you might want to double check on your measuring. I will be using the chain tool on my multi-tool. So you just put it in like this, screw it down, and start turning. It's kind of tight sometimes. Make sure you have it all lined up on there perfectly. That way you're not trying to go through the chain, but just push the pin out. Once the pin pops out, you can back it out, and there's your chain. This is an optional step, but since you've got the chain off the bike and it's got all that factory grease on it, it is probably a good idea to clean it before it attracts a bunch of dirt. So just put it in a jar, then put some Dawn just soap and water, shake it up, and then it'll be clean. Now that your chain is all nice and shiny, it's time to route it through the bike. So you just drop it through right there and put it around right there. You can just let it droop, and then you just pull the derailleur down and then go down right there. Make sure you get over the tab in the derailleur, because otherwise the shifting will sound pretty bad. Step 7, you're going to need your quick link, and then you just want to make sure the arrows go in the direction of travel. Like that. Then you just put it on there. You don't have to do it. There you go. Now slide it onto the chain ring. Like that, and then once you get your quick link at the top, you just put your pedals right there and then just push forward. For step 8, we're just going to make sure everything is running smoothly and as it should. Everything through the derailleur. Everything shifts smoothly. Make sure you turn your clutch back on and unlock your derailleur if that's your drivetrain system. And then we're going to lube the chain, and then you're almost done. For step 9, this is a very unneeded step, but since your chain is not typically this shiny all the time, it's a good idea to take a picture of your bike. Let's go. that is how you replace a bike chain. It's one of the best basic maintenance skills for you to learn, and it's pretty easy after you do it a couple times. Most people think that tubeless is very complicated and hard to set up, but if your wheels are already set up for it, it is actually super easy. So in today's video, I am going to show you how to convert your tubeless ready tires to tubeless. So for this task, you're going to need your tubeless ready tire. You can tell because it says tubeless ready right there. And your tubeless ready rim. It'll typically say on the bike if it's tubeless ready. Some shop towels, tubeless sealant, tire levers, and then an air compressor or air inflator. All these things will be linked in the video description down below so you can easily pick them up for yourself. So the first step that I'm going to do is I'm going to unfold my new tire. I am switching to this tire because my old one is worn out. If you're just switching to tubeless, this is definitely not a step that you need to do because if your tire is already tubeless ready. But if it's not and your rim is already tubeless ready, you're going to need to do this step. So all you have to do is unfold this tire so that way it looks like a tire, not just a flat tire. Like this. You just try and get it into the tire shape. Now we're just going to set it on the ground while we get the rest of the wheel ready for the tubeless install. So now we are going to take the old tire off so that way we can get to the tube inside. So just let out any remaining air. So now you're just going to take your tire levers and then get them onto the bead of the tire. Push forward. Pull all the way around. Just like that. And then we're going to unscrew this little nut on the tube. This is what keeps the valve on the tube pulled down. You just pull it out and pull this tube out. So you'll want to make sure that your rim is taped so that way the sealant will hold, and this one is taped, and if it's tubeless ready it should be already taped. So now you want your tubeless valves. Since your rim does not have a valve right now, you just put it in like this. Then you just screw the lock ring on, so that way it stays in place. And then there's a debate on the internet about how tight you're supposed to do these, but I find finger tight works well. And then since I am just switching tires, I'm going to go ahead and clean my rim up real quick. There we go. So now you need your new tire or your tubeless ready tire, and then you're just going to line up the logo with the valve and then put your tire in. It can be a little tricky sometimes, but you're trying to get it into the center channel of the rim right here, because that is the smallest diameter of the rim. These new tires can definitely be hard because they just want to fold back up. Also make sure that your tread's going the right way, because the worst thing you can do is get a tire on and then realize it's on the wrong way, especially if it took you a while to get it on there. So the easy trick to do that is you've got your cassette right here on the right and then the drive side on the left, and that is how you ride a bike. So you just want to follow the path of the tire, and you know that we'll be going forward here. Sometimes there's a direction arrow, but on here it's real clear to see on the tread, points forward. With these Bontrager rims, it can definitely be a little bit harder because they don't use rim tape, they use like some plastic thing, and that makes it much harder to get the tire on. Just work your tire on. It can be a little tricky. You can grab a tire lever if you need to, and you just put the hook part on the rim. There we go. Got the first side on. So now we're going to do the same with the second side. Just start by the valve. So now before I put any sealant in, I'm going to try to blow it up dry and see if that works. So now you need an air compressor and one of these little guys. It is a Presta Schrader adapter if you don't have a Presta air compressor. So you just screw it on and then grab your air compressor. So now you're going to blow up your tire, not physically blow it up, just blow it up so that it seats on the rim. So for some reason, I always have a hard time getting Victoria tires to seat, but they were also my only new tires that I've ever seated before. So you can use a ratchet strap. This is definitely a handy little trick to have in your bag of skills when it comes to tubeless tires. So all you do is you let all, if not most, of the air out. It'd be a little hard to get on there with just your own two hands, so it may be helpful to have a friend help you. But you just roll it up, try to get it in the center of the tire, pull it snug. Make sure it's in the center, and then ratchet it down. Then you just blow it up like you normally would. There we go, now the tire is seated on the rim. And now you probably know why people give tubeless tires so much hate. It's because sometimes it can be like that. I don't know if it's Victoria tires or if it's just new tires. These are the only new tires I've ever used. Typically they come new on my bike. And I hit corners, do jumps, and all that kind of stuff before I ever need to seat them again. So that can loosen up the bead a little bit. Yeah, that was something. I did almost get hit in the face too with a ratchet. But, yep. Now we're going to add some sealant. So now you got to take all the air back out. This time it should be seated on the rim, so you shouldn't have to go through that again. So you need to take your valve core out. Normally it's not that hard to seat a tubeless tire. That one was just particularly stubborn for some reason. So now, this is a little bit of a hack. Since you've got it seated, you can either get a tubeless tire sealant injector, or you can use a brake bleeding syringe and a bowl. So all you need to do is shake up your sealant real good. Then you put about 3.5 ounces in. You can just eyeball it. If you've never done it before, there's measurements on the sealant jugs most of the time. Should be good. This is a new tire, so I'm going to put a little bit of extra sealant in it, just so it can seal up all the stuff in the tire that might not have been sealed otherwise. So then you just take your brake bleeding syringe and then you just fill it up with the sealant. Then you just take it and you put it onto the valve, then you just push it in. This is a very mess-free way to do it. So now you want to make sure that you can clean this really good and then fill it up with water for a few days, so that way all the sealant kind of dissolves in there, and then rinse it multiple times after that, so that way it doesn't dry in there and then you can't use it anymore. And then make sure that you do make sure that it is clean of all mineral oil or dot fluid. I don't know if I would do this if it was a dot fluid one, but this one is mineral oil, and that is my brakes since I run Shimano. So that is what I use, and it can be kind of handy sometimes. So now you're just going to put your valve core back in, clean up any sealant if you spilled any. And just put your valve core back in, screw it down nice and snug. There we go. Then we're going to put the adapter back on. If you're enjoying this video so far, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button and then subscribe while you're down there. I really appreciate it. So now I'm just going to screw the adapter back on and then blow it up to your desired PSI. Since the tire's already sealed, we don't need to see it again. So now you want to just shake your tire all around, get the sealant everywhere. If you had any leaks, this should solve it, especially if they were small. And there we go. And that is how you take a tubeless ready tire and change it into a tubeless tire. It's pretty easy once you know how to do it. And then the tubeless tires I find on a mountain bike is definitely worth all the effort that it takes to convert to tubeless. It can save you a lot of punctures out on the trail. And that was the top 3 videos on my channel, but let me know if you had a different one that was your favorite across my entire channel, and what your favorite format is. Is it a ride video, trail preview Thursdays, or where I break down something? And just thanks again to everybody who subscribed, liked, shared, and left a comment. Your comments mean a lot and I really appreciate reading them. So thank you for 100 subscribers, and I can't wait to see where this channel will grow to. And until next time, don't forget to go find your epic.